Now that everyone else in the house has quieted down and now I can hear my own thoughts, hello everyone! It is the Mad Scorpion back with another TWAB update, this time from June 4th. Is it June? Yes, it is June. Now, as this is the last week of Season of the Worthy, we're going to have some things coming at us. It's starting with this TWAB is a little message further about the Black Lives Matter movements. And, excuse me, I just realized I flubbed that Black Lives Matter, excuse me. And starting off, this week at Bungie from DNG04 once again. Season of the Worthy is ready for departure. Before we talk about anything else, we'd like you to Man, I got this so much better in the first try. We'd like you to maintain your focus on the events unfolding around the world. You may have seen demonstrations in your own town, or like many of us here, down the streets from places you call home. When words are not enough, only action can bring about change. Taking a stand about systemic racism, injustice, and prejudice is everyone's responsibility, and it begins with education and engagement. Here is a list of suggested organizations that we recommend you visit to donate to. And it lists as thus: blacklivesmatter.com, showing up for racialjustice.org, antiracismcenter.com, egi.org, and colorlines.com. We at Bungie are making a commitment to stand up on the behalf of black community, including our players, developers, fans, and neighbors. Racial injustice surrounds us, and we need to help create positive change. Bungie is making financial contributions to these organizations and matching donations made by any of the people on our own team. This will be our only This won't be... typos and flubs. This will not be our only contribution to the fight for justice in our country, and globally we have a platform. We plan to use it. And here is a list of various other websites and URLs previously mentioned, along with this. Support does not end at a single statement. We will continue to use our games and our shared voice to make this world a better place. We hope you'll join in supporting these efforts by visiting the following resources noted above and more, getting directly involved. Now, continuing, this week also kicks off Pride Month. If you haven't seen the at Bungie store announcement, our Pride Pins are back in stock. All profits from sales of Bungie's Pride Pin benefit the It Gets Better project, which inspires people across the globe to share their stories and remind people of the next generation of the LGBTQIA youth that it gets better out there. We also have some words from the diversity community speaking about the design of the pin. Our Pride Pin was specifically designed to include black and brown stripes in an effort to be inclusive and show support of people of color within the LGBTQIA+ community. In that spirit, we want to continue our support for all intersectional communities, including LGBTQIA+ individuals who are also a part of the black community currently fighting against racial oppression, demanding justice and equality. We support the Black Lives Matter movement and the LGBTQIA+ community at the same time, because without leadership and heroism of the transgender black and brown individuals like Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, today's LGBTQIA rights would not exist, and so now is the time to do more to help both rather than dividing our efforts. If you snag a pin, you will also receive a code for the True Colors emblem to show support in the game while playing Destiny 2. And 2 links in the article to the Bungie store and the European Bungie store. And the pin honestly looks great. I mentioned this in Take 1, but I do really like the design. And most others, it's like, the pin was just like, here you go, you get this for order. But this one actually looks like a reward for supporting, in addition to generally supporting. We'll continue sharing Bungie initiatives to support LGBTQIA communities throughout the month of June, so stay tuned. Our commitment to racial justice is just getting started, so you can expect to hear more soon. Now, that was a brief word for socially, or a word from Bungie, just given current events, and it's nice to hear them taking part and speaking giving their piece on takes. Now, continuing with more Destiny-related things. Within Destiny 2, you may have been watching the approach of the Almighty. You're itching to see the conclusion of the season, but you're also starting to hear whispers of what's coming next. Join us Tuesday, June 9th at 9 a.m. Pacific, also 12 noon Eastern, to learn about the future of Destiny 2. And then there's a screenshot basically summing that up. And then it has 2 links to the Bungie Twitter entailing the Drifter teaser and the Eris teaser. Both teasers basically show Drifter leaving a ship in what actually appears to be combat gear now, heading towards Europa, and the Eris teaser has her already on Europa, with the addition of the purple glowy hand that she earned from the end of the Shadowkeep campaign. And it also says, "See you soon." And I'm honestly hyped for hell is that. Now, Preview 2.9.0. Destiny 2's update 2.9.0 will become available next week, meaning we have a pile of patch notes to get through. Let's make a quick movement through some of the changes. Eververse. A few TWABs back, we talked about the future of Eververse and how we're making changes to some reward structures to better balance gameplay rewards with Eververse content. Season of the Redacted, which I can't believe we still have no idea what it's going to be about less than a week before, will contain a few introductory changes, with more shifts coming in Season 12, i.e. Year 4, and the following changes will become available next week. Legendary Armor. I tried to combine armor and ornaments into one word. Legendary Armor Ornaments. Ornaments. There we go. As noted in the previous TWAB, we have shifted from the Season 11 armor offering to be a gameplay reward for aspiring content. The Season of Ibulus Intrepid ornament sets will be returning to the storefront. Season Pass added an additional 2,300 Bright Dust to the Season Pass, i.e. rewards for the Bright Dust. Thank God, it felt so annoying when the tier 90s of the Battle Pass were still getting 100 bits of Bright Dust. It felt so stick it in your face. Bright Dust purchases added a flare section to feature shaders and spawn effects. Thank you. Highly requested items from your previous season will once again be available. We are looking at you, Wishes of Sorrow. Not sure what that is. That might be the 1000 Voices ornament. We will once again communicate Season 11 silver only items at the beginning of the season. We are expecting to have an update later in Season 11 on further changes to Bright Dust acquisition, so keep your eyes peeled. Furthermore, Sandbox. The powerful Friends armor mod will no longer stack, and multiple copies of this mod are equipped. These mod will provide no bonus stats. Developer commentary. Only Solar Season mods are intended to stack. No part of Arc mods is intended to have stacking functionality. Interesting. I wasn't aware that seasonal mods could even stack. That's good. Powerful Friends granted plus 20 mobility, which players could leverage to get 3 stat columns to the max of 100 points. Damn, no idea that was possible either. This mod is not priced sufficiently to justify its benefits, and is increasing its cost would have adverse effects on its primary benefit usage. Season 11 introduces a new Arc mod, granting a similar stat bonus to Strength and will not stack. Enhanced Auto Rifle Loader, Enhanced Fusion Rifle Loader, and Enhanced Bow Loader armor mods now have the chance to drop Pinnacle armor sources. Yay! No longer will something like that be so simple. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't even think those existed elsewhere. Thank God now I know. Raid rewards. The following raid exotics will have increased drop chances. 1000 Voices, Anarchy, Always on Time, the exotic Sparrow from the chest in the Flaming Servitor, and note drop chance begins at 10%, increases to a max of 50% over 20 clears. This is essentially the Ikelos effect from Escalation Protocol, where it was introduced that every attempt you had a drop chance, and every attempt you didn't get one, it would increase until one of the Ikelos weapons dropped. As soon as it did, it reset, and every time it didn't, it would increase again. Basically, the longer you did it, the less you got it, the more chance you would get it later. Trials rewards. Adding a Masterwork material rewards now drop at 3, 5, and 7 Trials wins. Added a Trials weekly bounty, which unlocks Trials engrams on Sync 14. Oh, interesting. This bounty reward will match the 3 wins milestone reward of the week. Trials tokens distributions have been rebalanced to focus on wins 3, 5, and 7 on a Trials passage. This includes repeat passages. Important note, includes repeats. Trials tokens are no longer awarded from match completions. Tokens are now granted specifically through wins and bounties. So that's not so good, because that means all the people that just lose constantly will still not partake in anything from token rewards. But either way, Passage of Wealth now doubles the bonus Trials tokens at the end of 3, 5, and 7 Trials wins. And hope you enjoyed this advertiser, full course, and more coming on June 9th, i.e. the reveals. See you then. Next section, mixing a green thumb with a bumper jumper. So you heard you like Pratt Snow's previews. They're short, sweet, and to the point. This topic, though, it needs a bit more to get through. Today, staff designer Lisa Brown takes center stage to walk us through the upcoming controller remapping feature that the team has been working on. Ooh, controller mapping. I still haven't seen a controller, so I may not participate, but I know all my friends will. From Lisa. Greetings, Guardians. I'm Lisa, a staff designer on the Sandbox team here at Bungie, and I am going to give you an overview of the controller remapping structure, or remapping feature for gameplay actions that will be coming to Destiny 2 for all players in Season of the Redacted. They could at least give us a name at this point. I mean, come on. Although we have controller presets in Destiny, there aren't enough to make basic accessibility guidelines for motor control and mobility. We've been working with some amazing accessibility consultants, Cherry Ray Thompson and Ian Hamilton, to create support for remapping buttons on the controller. Here I'll give an overview of how to use that feature, what it can and can't do, and then share some setups that have been used by various Bungie employees as examples. It's a quick note, all the below examples will be shown using Xbox button layouts. Woo! Xbox. Now, overview. Players can create a custom controller layout by going to the controller section of the settings screen and choosing button layout A, custom option available in the list. And there is on screen, you will see exactly what it means by that. And right there. Wait, okay. Bungie, I gotta point this out just because I noticed. You're using the Xbox picture, but then all the buttons are the PlayStation buttons. Bungie, double check yourself. Seriously, everyone's gonna see that and they're gonna notice it. Like, seriously. On this screen, you'll be able to customize mappings for gameplay actions related to your character and vehicles and in general settings like emotes and interacting prompts. So, we can just get rid of emotes. Cool. If you're like me and typically use a preset other than default, also like me, you can use the reset button to start from one of those presets. Okay, so they basically made it so that if you accidentally remap something you don't know, you can always fix it. To rebind a button, select the button mapping next to the action you want, and the next screen will allow you to input the button you want to remap to. Okie dokie. Verbs. This next tab. One of the challenges with controller remapping in Destiny is that we have a lot of player verbs. Think of verbs as actions: throwing grenades, triggering supers, jumping, sprinting, sliding, etc. PC remapping, there is a whole keyboard to at your disposal to map buttons. On the controller, though, there are only so many, and we have much more verbs than buttons. To solve this, we allow the player to map an action not just to a button, but also a type of input. On 3 selected supported input types are press, a standard button, for example, crouching on the default pad. Long press, required by holding down the button for a brief period of time to initiate the action, for example, casting barricade or rift as Titan or Warlock. Double press, pressing a button twice in succession to initiate an action, for example, dodging for hunters. Cool, so now there's various button types. As an example, for some of our exotic weapons, Borealis, Symmetry, and Hardlight, I have an alternate weapon action which has been typically activated by holding reload button. Now this can be mapped separately to a different button or different input. For example, I like to change it from a long press to a double press. Now when I want to switch Symmetry's fighting mode, I double press the X button. I would actually, let me be honest, I don't like the hold X to change mode. It feels like it takes so much extra time. The double tap X will be so much better. Thank you very much. Now, moving on. For the double press input type, you can also increase the amount of time between button presses as it registers as a double press. Oh, that's fancy. Basically, in case you accidentally spam it, safety wall, I'll just say that. Chord support. In addition to mapping actions to an individual button, we also support mapping to chords, meaning 2 buttons pressed simultaneously. In the default layout of Destiny, pressing the left and right bumpers together execute your super is an example of a chord. Here's a custom layout example where a player should master their basic character options to just the face of using chords. Fire as X, toggle zoom as press Y, reload A and X, ultimate weapon actions press A and X. Wow, that's weird. I can't believe somebody would actually have the fire button not be the trigger. That is weird. But melee, B and Y, grenades, double press B, super press A and B, and jump press A. Although I forgot to think that this is as intended for the mobility disabled generation. So I guess that is also a point you can keep an eye on. Constraints and caveats. Although this feature is a step towards greater motor accessibility in Destiny, it will still be limited in what it can do. For example, the controller remapping feature is limited to gameplay actions, not UI input or menu navigation. One motor accessibility challenges are inputs that require the player to hold down a button. We have options to switch between holds and toggles for some of our actions, i.e. zoom, sprint, and crouch. but we were not able to access all these cases. Examples: weapon fiery, flash jump ability, charging grenades, drawing bow, etc. Excuse me. We opted for flexibility in allowing players to map any action to any button and input combination, but that flexibility means there are some combinations that may give unexpected results to the player. Example: if you map melee to press X and some other actions to a long press X, the melee action resolves before the duration to detect a long press, so the player would always melee and never do the other action. Important detail. There is no visualizations error for these cases. This update was just focused on controller remapping, so there are some mappable options that appear here that have not been available for keyboard remapping. For example, individual mappings for different class abilities and some warlock abilities like Phoenix Dive or Icarus Dash. Icarus. Thank you. Our chord support is for simultaneous press of 2 buttons only. It does not detect if you press one button, hold it down, then press another. Important details on how they work. Unlike our presets, there's no dynamic controller preview image for the custom layout. Now, Bungie examples. Here are some examples of custom mappings and some of our Bungie players enjoy. I am typically a jumper player, but I also have a problem with melee on right stick press, even though it's not a faster input. Melee is right bumper. What are you talking about? I am a stress clicker and line up a okay. Now, I'm just going to put these on screen for those who actually want to pause it. This is quite a lot of reading. I don't want to have this one. It just says these are examples for various other ideas. So I'll throw them on screen for you and give you just one or two more moments to pause. There you go. We're excited to bring another form of accessibility to Destiny 2, and we'll be watching as the first iteration goes live. Now, last call. It is pretty much closing time. You don't have to go home, but you should definitely get your triumphs done before the servers go offline next Tuesday. Player support has done a full roundup. This is their report. Closing out Season the Worthy when Season the Worthy ends at the weekly reset, June 9th, 2020 at 1 o'clock. There will be a number of items and activities and triumphs that will no longer be available for players. Some include the Season the Worthy Season Pass and available bonuses, the Season the Worthy Seal and Almighty Title. Please note, Almighty Title must be claimed and equipped, not just claimed. Excuse me, maybe just not actually press it to make sure that you get it. Access to the EDZ Moon and Seraph bunkers will be gone. The Warmind Kandali seasonal artifacts from the player power increase from said artifact will be gone. The Seraph Tower public event, the Fourth Horseman, and Fellwinter's Lie quests are going to be gone. I never realized it was going to be the two important things are shotguns. That's a little weird. A full list of items being removed at the season's end can be found here. I'll throw up a card right now. Feature me, do it. And for anyone who wants to click that detail. Please note that Season Pass rewards and Season Dawn will be unavailable to claim when Season the Worthy ends. Past Season Pass rewards can be claimed here. And there's another link right there for you if you aren't so inclined. I'll go ahead and throw myself a link right now. Update 2.9.0 on Tuesday, June 9th. Update 2.90 will be available to players. Below the timeline of Destiny 2 maintenance updates for said update. I'll just go ahead and throw it on screen, the various numbers and times, and for future release timelines when they are available, players should visit the Destiny server and update status help article for live updates and this maintenance occurs. Players should follow Bungie Help on Twitter for monitor support and Bungie.net. Now, the resolved issue, or upcoming resolved issues coming with the next update. Polaris Lance Perfect Fit Explosion is no longer being cancelled by a subsequent shot. Awesome. Doom Marcher's Linear Actuators perk will now work after triggering on yellow bar enemies. Sweet. Players on Steam will no longer have their frames per second locked to 30 FPS when relaunching the game. Oof. I live at 30 frames per second, obviously, as console, but I suppose after being at 60 for so long, dropping to half that is going to be rough. Offline players and clans will no longer have their names set to offline, for those who are being sneaky. Warlock's Celestial Fire melee ability will now trigger the Winter's Guile Warlock's or Warlord Sigil perk. Awesome. So more fixes to melee weapons. Current known issues, various health forms and bleh. If worms used in Broodhold Strike despawn, players need to kill all remaining worm knights and place any remaining worms for another knight to respawn. Interesting. Well, alright, well, that's the thing. Alright. And then continuing on, it is just more movies of the week and the various other things that I shall just generally not get to. But the final out, there are so many important things going on in the world, it's difficult to maintain focus on much of anything right now. I've been spending a lot of time with friends at Discord servers while hitting weekly milestones, talking to them about their health, thoughts, and feelings concerning current world events. Much of our attention has been on what's happening right outside our windows. The thing is, this isn't new. This has been happening since well before many of us were born. It's time to listen and learn from our neighbors and communities. Check in with your fellow guardians, friends, and family, and take action to help them out if they need it. It is perfectly okay to press pause, put your controllers down, and focus attention elsewhere, especially if you're going out there to demand justice and support the Black community. You may find many of us out there with you in the greater Seattle area. Destiny will still be there when you want to sit down for a few games. It is not going anywhere. Be well, be safe, and we will see you Starside from DMG04. So, that is the TWAB, and it is running a bit longer than usual. That I had to cut it short because it was running so long, actually. Either way, the usual set. They surprisingly still haven't revealed anything of what's coming, which is an odd case. I know they're actually revealing the next year in addition to the next season. But oh my god, I wish they would have actually done it where a week before we got our seasons things, and before the season launched we got our big yearly reveal. Although they might coincide, the next season might directly launch into next year's expansion, so that could be the reason why they're holding it off. Out of the way, my name is Mad Scorpion. That has been the TWAB update for June 4th. Oh boy, I am out of breath from all the talking. Okay, so I shall see you in the next video. It'll likely be Maneater out later. We shall see what comes when it does. Either way, this has been it for today. I will see you then. Bye-bye.